Aloha and welcome to the Solar Coaster Live Show. This is Josh Porter.
Jason Verkart.
And Russell Adkins with Maui Brewing Company.
All right, welcome to the show, Russell. Really appreciate you joining us today. So, Russ, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my background is actually I'm a tax specialist, a CPA. I was the outside CPA for Maui Brewing Company. And I started with Maui Brewing Company July 1st, 2015. And this grid independent system was really dreamt up by Garrett Marrero, the CEO, and myself on this project. And, what started off as a small, less than 250 kilowatt project really turned into a 1 megawatt project, mainly because we were not able to connect to the utility. The grid was maxed out in our area. And in order to be able to move forward, we really went the whole 9 yards and allowed ourselves to be in a capacity where we could disconnect. And so naturally, my side is the tax consulting, the financial analytics on it. And fortunately, it worked for us. But in addition to that, on this particular project, there's a huge need for resilience in Maui, being in the middle of the Pacific. And it's an insurance policy for us as well. When we have refrigerator beverages that we need to protect, we were able to build up resilience through an insurance policy, as well as take care of, pretty much have a financial annuity as well. And so those combined made it a viable project for us.
We did talk about this kind of interesting role that the microgrid could play to the community out here. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's something we're still exploring with Maui Electric, right? But one thing we've explored is if this could be a potential FEMA location, and if we're able to actually backfeed in an emergency situation to the grid that we're on, right? So as you know, every grid is segmented, and we have quite a few homes around us, and we haven't determined what the final numbers are, but we know we have the capacity to easily power up over 1,000 homes for emergency needs such as refrigeration, freezers, things of that nature. And so if MECO is able to get to that point where they have that program, we certainly want to entertain that partnership with them, because we very much appreciate a lot of the help that they ended up contributing to this project to allow us to move forward. And it's a good community service as well. You've actually experienced, we had a fire and you were cut off from your house and you came by the brewery for, a couple of beers with the dogs, because as you and I know, when there's a significant fire, the roads close. And so we have the ability to operate independent of the grid. So even if South Maui is cut off, we still have some form of food distribution and cold liquid beverage, because not everything, of course, we do is alcoholic. We have water, we have sodas and other things. So we can keep products perishable, but also have clean water for people in an emergency situation.
What is it really like day to day to run a microgrid of this size?
Right, as you can imagine, there's a lot of moving parts. A lot of times with a PV system, you don't think there are, but having a site controller, any kind of electronics that are sensitive to power outages, right? Because we're normally on the grid, but we do have a transfer switch so that we can come off the grid and back on the grid. Well, where we've had issues, for example, our UPS failed, which took down our whole site controller. So we have redundancies. We knew about this potential weakness in our system, but it's those kind of minute details that you really have to have redundancy to make sure that your main brain, if you will, the control system, is in a good place. And then you have to make sure that gen sets, there's depth in them, that they're getting tested, that their batteries don't go down, and that everything communicates correctly.
Okay, well, we are addressing the Solar Power International North America Smart Energy Week virtual education series attendees. And from the perspective of Russ Adkins from Maui Brew, do you have any messages for anybody? Would you like to share anything for them?
Yeah, I think, there's certainly a financial component, but there are so many additional benefits, like what we're talking about with protecting from fire, potentially tsunamis. If you have a perishable product, there are opportunity costs that can be extremely expensive if you don't pursue this type of independence or technology. And, the things we're doing for the environment also have their own impact, if you will, for society. But I encourage anybody who wants to look into these projects to move forward. There's always going to be obsolescence, but if you wait too long, you might miss out on your peak ROI because you didn't pursue it quickly. So don't get stuck in the details. Just make sure at a high level that the project is viable, and then just start pulling triggers and make it happen.